The summer sun hung low over the field, casting a warm golden glow across the green grass where dozens of people had gathered. Children laughed, parents chatted, and somewhere in the middle of it all stood a large metal cage, cold, silent, and out of place. Inside it, a powerful German shepherd sat tense and alert, his sharp eyes tracking every movement around him. His teeth flashed once, twice in warning. Most kept their distance, whispering rumors about the dog that once served as a K9 officer, but was now considered too dangerous to approach. And yet, among the crowd, one little girl stepped forward, small hands clutching a worn teddy bear, eyes filled not with fear, but something else entirely, quiet understanding. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the unspoken loyalty that only animals can offer, then pause for a moment, like, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales, because today's story isn't just about a dog or a girl. It's about how love can break even the strongest chains of fear. Her name was Emily. She was 8 years old, with dark hair tied in a neat ponytail and a heart too big for her small frame. She had lost her father, a decorated police officer, in the line of duty just a year before. Since then, she hadn't spoken much. She stopped going to the playground, stopped laughing at cartoons, and the teddy bear she held had become her only friend. Her mother tried everything, therapy, trips to the countryside, art classes, but nothing seemed to reach her. Then one day, the local police department invited families to an open event to meet their retired service dogs. A program meant to rehabilitate and possibly rehome these loyal animals. That's where Emily saw him, K9 Rex, a legend, once the pride of the unit, but now behind bars. His handler had been the same man Emily's father worked with. After a tragic raid gone wrong, Rex had been injured and withdrawn from duty. Since that day, no one could get near him. He growled at trainers, ignored food, and refused to obey commands. Many said he'd gone feral, but when Emily looked at him, she didn't see a threat. She saw sadness, the kind that mirrored her own. The officer leading the event, a kind man in a suit named Captain Harris, noticed Emily staring at the cage. He smiled, perhaps thinking she was simply curious. But when she started walking toward it, the crowd gasped. Parents pulled their children back. Harris gently tried to stop her, but Emily kept walking, clutching her teddy bear tighter. Her steps were slow but steady, her eyes never leaving the dogs. Rex growled, a low, warning rumble that made even the adults shiver. But Emily didn't stop. She crouched down, barely a foot away from the bars. The teddy bear dangled loosely in her hand. For a heartbeat, everything froze. Even the birds seemed to hold their breath, and then she spoke. Her voice was small, fragile, but clear enough to pierce through the summer air. "Hi, Rex," she whispered. "You miss him too, don't you?" Those words hit like a quiet thunderclap. Captain Harris froze mid-step. He hadn't told anyone, but somehow she knew. She knew that Rex's former handler, Officer James, had been the same man who was her father's best friend. The same mission that took Emily's dad had broken Rex too. Something in Rex's eyes flickered. His growl softened, his ears twitched. Slowly, he sniffed the air, recognizing something, perhaps the faint scent of the man he once followed into danger, the scent of a bond lost but never forgotten. Emily reached out a trembling hand through the bars, holding out her teddy bear. "It's okay," she whispered again, tears pooling in her eyes. "You're not bad. You're just sad." The crowd gasped when Rex moved. He stepped forward, nose touching the teddy bear through the cage. The rumble in his throat faded into silence. For the first time in months, his body relaxed. His eyes closed for a moment, as if finding peace in a scent he thought he'd never feel again. And then, gently, cautiously, he licked her fingers. The park erupted in disbelief. People clapped, others cried, and Captain Harris stood frozen, his face pale with awe. Emily smiled for the first time in months. It was small, hesitant, but real. A fragile bridge between two broken hearts had just been built, right there, between the bars of a cold metal cage. From that day on, everything began to change. Emily and her mother started visiting the station every week. At first, she would just sit by Rex's cage, reading aloud to him, telling him about her father, about school, about how lonely the nights felt without him. The officers watched in silent wonder as Rex's demeanor softened with each passing visit. His tail began to wag. He started eating again. And soon he recognized her completely, no longer growling when she approached, but whining softly until she came near. One rainy afternoon, something extraordinary happened. The trainers decided to open the cage. Emily's mother was nervous. Captain Harris was cautious, but Emily stood calm. As the latch clicked open, Rex stepped out slowly, his massive frame towering over her. Everyone held their breath. But then Rex did something no one expected. He sat down in front of Emily, lowered his head and gently placed his paw on her lap. It was as if he was saying, "I'm ready to trust again." From that moment, the two became inseparable. Emily would visit every day after school, helping to retrain Rex alongside the officers. She learned commands, fed him and brushed his fur. And every time she looked into his eyes, she saw not a dangerous dog, but a friend who understood her pain. The station became brighter with their presence. Even the officers who had once given up on Rex found hope in their bond. Months passed, and a local news station picked up their story. The video of Emily's first touch, the moment the fierce canine lowered his guard to a grieving girl, went viral. People from around the world sent letters and messages, calling their bond a miracle of empathy. Donations poured in to support the K9 rehabilitation program, and suddenly, a dog that was once feared became a symbol of healing. But what truly touched everyone's heart was what happened next. On the anniversary of her father's passing, the police department held a small ceremony to honor the fallen officer. Emily stood beside Rex, now wearing a new collar with her father's badge number engraved on it. As the national anthem played, Rex sat tall and still beside her, just as he once had beside his handler. When the ceremony ended, Emily leaned down and whispered something into his ear. No one heard her words, but Rex responded by resting his head on her shoulder, closing his eyes. It was as if two souls, one human, one canine, had finally found peace together. And as the sun set that evening, Captain Harris looked at the two of them, one small girl and one once feared dog, and said quietly, "They saved each other." If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, can change a life, sometimes even two. Before we end, we have a special request. Comment below. What did you feel when Emily reached out to Rex? Would you have done the same if you were in her place? Your words might inspire someone else to believe in second chances too.